Ron Callan with you, Beaver Sports Network. But today we're talking about every department at Oregon State on Damn Proud Day. It's going great. Grace Atebe, she's in charge of international services. That's student athletes and others who come to this school to garner an incredible education. Grace, thank you so much for spending time with us here today.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've met a few student athletes from other countries over the years who played football, women's basketball, but it just runs the gamut. And when someone comes from another country, what are some of the big challenges to get them up to speed?
Well, as you can imagine, when students come here from another country, they absolutely are coming into a totally new environment. They're leaving all things that are familiar to them, whether it's family, familiar foods, and all that kind of stuff. And so suddenly you're in a new environment and you've got to figure out how to adjust into the new environment. So it's anywhere between the academic setting and understanding the U.S. academic system. It's finding cultural foods that you enjoy, which I think is pretty important for settling in and feeling like you belong in a new environment. And sometimes it just goes to as basic as walking to a grocery store and finding whether you can find the things that are familiar to you, because the brands are different, names are different. So it's just very overwhelming, and just kind of helping students settle in into a new environment and find their step and get on with their success. So that's normally the initial basics of adjusting to the basic needs.
I think adjustment's the big word. And, you know, I know a little bit about this because my son Daniel, who lives in Spokane, he teaches English as a second language. And he has classes of 25 kids from everywhere, from Ethiopia to Mexico to Canada so he's seen these challenges. He feels the passion of these students who want to learn the communication aspect of their life in the United States.
Well, that is very true, because I think language basically is one of the ways that you feel like you belong in a society. If you cannot communicate effectively, whether it's because English proficiency is still being developed or just spoken English is very different from written English. So the slang and things like that, people just get thrown off. So it's really a point of just feeling some level of empathy, and where people feel like they can still understand what you're saying, whether it's even just the accent that is different, and so people seem like not to understand anything anymore. So I think it's all those things of trying to make sure that we are welcoming, we are encouraging, we realize that there are differences. Those differences just make people unique, but not necessarily unsuccessful. So the point is, how do we welcome, encourage, embrace the students, and just encourage them to explore the new environment and start fitting in just like anybody else. So it takes a lot, but I think it takes a brave soul to come into that scenario and try to make an adjustment of that sort. But it takes all of us to help make sure that they get to that point of adjustment and comfort.
And Grace, one thing it takes to help out all these kids is money for your department. And that's why we're here today. Tell everybody what, the donations they make to international studies. How do you put it to use?
Oh, absolutely. Well, hopefully things don't fly off. Well, some of it is basically looking at programs that provide for spaces where the students are able to engage with each other in terms of build community. Spaces where they can engage with other American students and kind of find a place to start building new friendships. And as we know, they're not immune either to emergency situations. And even if you came with adequate funds to support yourself, something happens, a medical emergency in your home, the primary provider, parent maybe has some situation, funds become short for a period of time, so they need some temporary assistance to then be able to continue their education. So the hope is that people are going to give, and we can be able to meet the students where they are and support them when we need to support them, and make sure that they graduate from OSU with a degree that is like none other.
Grace Atebe, appreciate the time. By the way, how long have you been at Oregon State? You?
I came to OSU in September 19th, 2016, and it has been a blast.
Wow. All right. Hey, go Beavs, right?
Go Beavs. Please give if you already haven't given. This is a great opportunity to make a difference. Join us and make a difference. Let's go Beavs.
Stick around, everybody. Thanks again. Grace Atebe with International Studies. We'll be right back. It's Oregon State's Damn Proud Day 2024. It continues.